Today on DNVR Buffs Live, digging into some takeaways from Big 12 Media Day. Shedeur Sanders said Colorado is everyone's Super Bowl. We'll tell you exactly why he's right. We'll recap Coach Prime's press conference from yesterday, EA Football's, or college football's top 100 players, and much more. Let's go. Bomb Nation!
Let's go!
Hell yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, Lord. It's just never going to die, is it? We're coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota is the official vehicle of DNVR. It's the DNVR pregame show. Uncle Neely in the house. What is up, bro?
In the hizzy for shizzy. What's going on, Jake, my man?
Not much, bro. Just getting back to Vegas, just trying to recover, allow my soul to regenerate, feel more like a human in these next few hours, I hope.
You have a track record of needing much recovery when you return from Vegas.
It was a marathon, bro. I went ham. What can I say?
Jake, you only know one speed, and that is ham.
Exactly. Oh, man. You're back in Jackson still.
Oh, yeah.
But
man, and it is still hot as hell.
Well, we just got back from the surface of the sun yesterday. That was terrible. But you kind of saw what happened at Big 12 Media Day. Do you have any initial takeaways just from what you saw?
I got to tell you first, before we get there, Herman texted me. It's like, hey, man, are you already in Vegas? And I said, no, I'm still in Vegas, Mississippi, a.k.a. Jackson. He said, yeah, man, I was hitting you because I don't know when our plane's going to be able to take off. They say we can't fly. It's 118. It's like, it ain't 118 in Mississippi, but it sure feel like it. But I tell you what, man, out of all the stuff I heard from Media Day, bigger than just Colorado football was when the commissioner was speaking and he repeatedly drove home that the Big 12 ain't done growing, that the Big 12 is still open for business. And when I look at the collegiate landscape out there, of people who are disgruntled in their current conference, and I think about the potential of like a Florida State joining the Big 12 and us having this Colorado-Florida State rivalry because of the Big 12 growth to the East Coast and in Florida, I'm just excited about the future, man.
No, I love that. Let's get into it then, because there was some buzz about that coming out of Media Day. And, this time last year was when everyone was like in flux with the Pac-12, right? We didn't know what was going on, who was going to make it. It was shortly after we got back from Media Day that all the announcements came through. Colorado's going to the Big 12, 4 corner schools are joining them, and the Pac-12 basically fell apart. But it does seem like, you look at Florida State and Clemson too, with that lawsuit with the ACC, and from, some like radio show rumors and stuff, it seems like the Big Ten and the SEC haven't really shown much love to Florida State. And as you said, Commissioner Yormark has mentioned multiple times, we are open for business. He's about expanding, the borders of this conference too. So I think it'd be a home run. And you want to talk about getting this conference elevated and getting in competition with the SEC and Big Ten directly. Getting those two schools would do just exactly that.
Amen, brother. And, when I read the tea leaves, clearly, Florida State and Clemson are not happy where they are. I think it's just a foregone conclusion that they are no longer going to be a part of the ACC. So then you start looking at where they may or could possibly land. I think for the time being, the SEC has kind of closed its doors on expansion with Oklahoma and Texas coming over. So I don't see them expanding in the next, 4 to 6 years, or maybe a little bit under that. So then that leaves you Big 12, Big 10. And when you just look at the upside of what these conferences are bringing to the table now and the projected future, it just makes sense for Florida State, a Clemson, to join us in the Big 12. But it doesn't just stop there. I really think in the next 24, 36 months, man, Notre Dame has got to make a decision. I don't know how much longer with all this TV money and streaming money, a school can just remain independent, just saying, hey, we've been doing this, we're going to do it forever. The landscape has changed so much that you could end up with blue bloods like a Florida State and a Notre Dame in the Big 12 in the next 2 years.
I mean, that'd be ideal, I think, for what we're looking at in terms of realignment in this conference. Kind of with that, Commissioner Yormark talked a lot about, adding basketball. And he specifically talked about potentially splitting football and basketball, those media deals, so they could do their separate thing. And if you're talking about the ACC falling apart, I mean, Duke and North Carolina are there too. This is already the best conference for basketball in the country. I mean, talk about going all in. That would be going all in, absolutely.
Jake, man, you nailed it. When you had that basketball component, it really makes sense for North Carolina because they have a football program that has been on the rise. Duke has a football program that's been on the rise. These are, quote unquote, basketball schools that just really not known for the other sports, but their football programs are making a lot of noise. Even got legendary coaches coaching them now. That makes sense as well. Like this could be, a Florida State, a Clemson, a North Carolina, a Duke expansion or something, mixed in between those. I just think the future is bright for the Big 12. I think we have a commissioner who gets social media and branding and gets being a maverick and doing things differently, whether that's locker room cameras, sideline cameras. I think he's more, of that XFL kind of showmanship versus NFL traditional
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And I think that's going to lead to more eyeballs. More eyeballs leads to more money. More money attracts more teams to your conference because of the TV deals.
Love it, man. We talked to Shedeur at the Super Bowl yesterday, and I guess a lot of people did actually. But it was we got some good stuff out of him. We noted just how calm, cool, collected he still seems, how confident he is in this team too. It just seems like everyone's happy. But he had this comment that's kind of blowing up today, and we've got the video for it too, basically saying that Colorado is everyone's Super Bowl, and he's exactly right. Whenever you're ready, Alyssa, you can roll the whole quote from Shedeur on this. In a second. She's working on it. It's coming, she says.
Just hit it with a hawk tool. It'll get going.
Oh, this guy, man. Okay, here it is.
In terms of him operating with a certain obligation, does that sort of flow over to you as his son and being in the spotlight, as you just answered, that it's a different level in how you feel you have to perform? Do you have an obligation to perform at a different level?
It's been that since day one. I remember first media day when I was in HBCU, I said, well, we won't lose a game. I'm undefeated in the SWAC, so I already know what the expectation comes with. I know we're everybody's Super Bowl, so I'm really just, I always stay level-headed, stay grounded because I would never want to be that guy, look back, and not being able to take advantage of the moment that we have right now.
In terms of him operating with a certain obligation.
So people lost their minds about this. It's all the same shit we hear. 4-8, all this stuff, But he's absolutely right. When you go to media day and everyone is hounding them for interviews, it shows how much the attention is on them. But we saw it last year. It was every game. People were coming with their A game week in, week out to beat this team.
Absolutely. It is the top program in the nation without being number one in the nation. Right now, Jake, hats off to you. Michigan won the championship, and until kickoff week one, they are the champions. And then they got to try to do it again like everybody else is. Other than Michigan being the literal champion of college football, Colorado is right there because we're always in everybody's mouths being discussed. People who hate us want to talk about it. People who love us want to listen about it. And Shedeur has been there, done that. He understands it. And I know he shouted out HBCUs in Jackson State. I got him right up there when he was where it is. I got him right up there, back to back with the Jackson State wins. The thing is, this guy's been around the media and camera all his life. He's been playing sports all his life. He's been with his dad all his life. You can't rattle him. You're going to get honesty out of him. And just like he said, his first media day at Jackson State, he knows the work that he had put in at that time. He knew the teammates that he had. And he's like, man, we're not going to lose the game. And that's what happened. And everybody was in an uproar when he said it. Like, oh, he can't. How dare he be that confident? How dare he be that cocky?
Yes.
It wasn't cocky. It was work. The guy knows his arm and the talent of his receivers. And the same thing is going to happen this year. Like, we're going to vastly exceed expectations. All the things that Coach Prime has been talking about is going to come true. All the things that Shedeur has been talking about are going to come true. And the haters are going to hate anymore, and the lovers are going to love anymore. But at the end of the day, it's going to be the most talked about program week in and week out, win, lose, or draw in college football because all eyes are on Boulder, Colorado.
MJ with the good comment there. Shedeur's response went over their heads, and that's exactly what happens with this program. Anytime anyone from the team, coach or players, captains or special teamers otherwise say anything about this program, people hear what they want from that. They don't actually listen to what's being said, and they don't really respect these players and coaches for what they are too. Because as you said, Shedeur's all about the work. That's all he does is grind, work. He had to battle through injury this last year, and then kind of work through it in the early parts of the offseason. He put in work. He knows what this team is capable of. He knows what he's capable of, and they hear them speak confidently and what they know about the team, and it just makes people upset. And it's funny because it's the same people who get upset about this who are always on Colorado's ass about everything, every little thing that happens, recruiting, social media, and they watch all these games. They're going to stay up watching Colorado State till midnight on the Pacific Coast, whatever it is. So it's a little hypocrisy, I think, because they're the ones driving the attention, and then they say, oh, this team isn't worthy of the attention. It's like, what are you really doing here, man?
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle of player hating is what it is. I can't change the game, and I hate the player, but I can't stop watching, so I'm just going to comment on it. They're the two old guys in the balcony at the Muppet Show. They don't miss a damn show, but all they do is bitch and moan and complain while they're up there. But you bought a ticket, so we win anyway. One thing about Shedeur coming up and being coached by his dad, Coach Prime Deion Sanders, same thing with Shiloh, and it just permeates through the rest of the team. You don't have an expectation of them that exceeds their expectation of themselves. Mm-hmm. And so you don't have a critique, you don't have a praise, you don't have anything you can throw at them that they don't throw at themselves. The amount of work they put in, the expectation that they have for their performance, that's why it's no pressure, because they've done the work and they believe in what they're working on and what it's going to yield on the football field. So that's why you see him stand there so calmly and say things with such confidence, because he believes in himself. I don't know a guy, and I don't care if you're 22 or 52, I don't know a guy who understands his future, but also is just so totally present in the moment as Shedeur Sanders. This guy knows, he's going to be talked about every day, every week for Heisman. This guy knows he's being drafted early in the first round, if not number one. This guy knows he has an NFL future. But what is he focused on? North Dakota State. You can't get him off of that. You can talk about, you want the Falcons to pick you, the Cowboys, and he's going to start talking about North Dakota State and Colorado State. We get there when we get there, because winning is what matters, and it's all that matters to this team is turning this season around, getting Miss Peggy to a bowl game.
Exactly. Perfectly said. I mean, you know better than anyone, really. We'll wrap up this part. I've got another kind of roundup take on this, and then we'll talk about a little bit about Juju and the rankings drop. There's all sorts of stuff going on. Coach Prime's press conference as well. But first, a shout out to our friends over at BetterHelp. We are here to eliminate the stigma of mental health on this show. And we are doing that with friends like BetterHelp. Sometimes you see someone to talk to. Life is hard. There's a lot of things going on, whether it's relationships, work stress, just whatever's going on, things out of your control. And we all just need someone to talk to at sometimes. That's where BetterHelp comes in. It's online therapy. It's convenient, flexible, suited to your schedule. All you need to do, fill out a brief questionnaire, and you'll get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. You could become your own soulmate, whether you're looking for one or not. Visit BetterHelp.com/DNVR today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/DNVR. And also shout out to our friends at Game Time, Neely. All this talking about Colorado, butts are going to be in seats. We saw yesterday, we were at Media Day, but the Cincinnati game sold out now.
Sold out. But when things are sold out, all you got to do is go to that Game Time app, use our code, Buff. Say, man, there's a way to get in there. Might cost a little more, but there's nobody guarantees you the best seats like our friends over at Game Time. Looking forward to all season long repping Game Time and talking about what they bring to the table, because it really is a great place to get tickets when you can't get tickets anywhere else.
For sure. We're going to be at every road game. If you want to come hang out with us and come to the games, use that code BUFFS, BUFFS at Game Time. Justin Michael, the Rams guy, he put out a tweet today, I think, saying that if you want to go to this CSU game that's in Fort Collins, you're pretty much going to have to get on it now. I mean, you're pretty much late at this point if you're not already on it. So get on over to Game Time, download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code BUFFS, BUFFS, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code BUFFS, BUFFS, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. To put a bow on Shedeur's comments about the Super Bowl thing, I think being there just put in perspective how ridiculous it is when stuff like this blows up, because as you said, Shedeur is calm, cool, confident. He knows exactly what's going on with this team, and he just makes a passing remark about this team in front of a camera. It gets posted on social, and it goes crazy. Like, no one's talking about it out there. It's not a big deal out there. Like, it's just a guy just saying what he feels about his team, but everything that is said and comes from this program is put under such a microscope that it always blows up. It's just hilarious to be there and watch it, kind of from all perspectives at that point.
Yeah, it is, man. And, I can double down and triple down and quadruple down on how it just doesn't rattle him. And here's one thing about sports, and this is, not me attacking fans, because we're all fans of things that we never participated in or played. I know you love race car driving and all that, and you haven't gone a lap around Daytona in your life, Jake. But so you
Right.
you can appreciate something and not have participated in it. Most people who watch sports, have not been in the locker room, have not been on a team of that particular sport, and really are making assumptions about dynamics and what take place. And so when a guy recognizes that everybody, what game do people get up for? They get up for the championship. They get up for the Super Bowl. And he understands that whether it's week 1 or week 10 or week 12, we're people's Super Bowl. And the evidence proves that people want to beat us worse than they want to beat anybody, because it is their quote unquote Super Bowl. There's nothing wrong with the comment, particularly when you see opponents who are down the schedule that have pictures of Shedeur up in their lockers. Like,
Yes.
they're proving that we're their Super Bowl. And so he says something that's already been validated and substantiated, and people want to act like it's the first time they heard it as something offensive. What team on our schedule does not have our game circled because they want to make sure they win that game, because they know all eyes are going to be on that game? They know from scouts to general managers to player personnel to fans on the couch are going to be watching the game. It is indeed everybody's Super Bowl when you play Colorado.
Without a doubt. Let's talk a little Julian Lewis here and the rankings drop, because this came out yesterday, and of course the noise isn't ever as loud when it's actually targeted at Colorado in this way. But we saw it, I think, on it was Monday or Friday recently, that On3 took away his 5-star. They made him a 4-star, and that one, it was like, all right, it's On3. What a surprise! Like, we've seen them do this all the time. And then yesterday, 247 drops Julian Lewis like 30 spots in their rankings. I think we have a general feeling about what's going to happen with this kid, where he's going to go to college. There's some announcements to be made for sure, but it's very funny that you get linked to Colorado and immediately you're a worse football player all of a sudden, apparently.
Man, I could play like I had a crystal ball and I'm just some kind of, Nostradamus and can call these shots before they happen. But the truth is, I saw this happen with Coach Prime at Jackson State. Travis Hunter was without a doubt the number 1 player in the nation coming out of high school. When he was rumored for Florida State and looking at Alabama and Auburn, he was the hottest thing since sliced bread. The minute he chose to play for Coach Prime at HBCU, now he's no longer the number 1 in the nation. Some people had him as 2, 3, 4, and 5, or had him as number 1 in his position, but number 20th in the country. Just crazy things, how it changed just because of who he was being selected by or who he chose to go to. And I witnessed the same thing, kind of reverse engineering with Shedeur. I watched Shedeur play in high school, went to see one of his games just to make sure this wasn't some bad daddy ball taking place. And I left with the interpretation that if his last name wasn't Sanders, he would be a 5-star. But they had him at a 4, and some people had him at a 3. And now he's, number 1, in a video game ranking, and clearly one of the best, if not the best, quarterbacks in the nation. But he's the same guy that y'all said was a 3 just because of who his dad was. Travis is number 1 in all these categories in preseason awards, but now he's number this or that because of who he was playing for. And when Juju, picks Colorado and everything becomes official, people are going to say the same thing about him. Now, all the stuff that you never said about him, now you're going to start saying, like, oh, we didn't want him anyway because he this, that, and the other.
Right.
It's what I told you guys on the last show, man. It's that construction worker behavior. I'm going to catcall the hot chick, and when she keeps walking, I'm going to act like I didn't want her anyway.
Spot on. Just beautifully said. TC Lewis, Juju's dad, put out a tweet today. He said, post Elite 11, the same media said Julian Lewis was the most accurate passer in the nation. And it's an On3 graphic. They put this out. Elite 11 superlatives. It's right there. Second name, most accurate, Julian Lewis. He continues, on top of that, in the two most objective portions of the event, he finished first and second and had a top 3 round in 7v7. Accuracy and processing translate to every level. So they're seeing it. They completely understand what's going on. But it's I don't know. It's just so obvious. Like, it's obvious that, you know, they're trying to get people riled up to shit on Colorado, basically. They're trying to get this fan base riled up when they do these things. But I guess you can't stop a moving freight train at full speed.
No, and the thing is, brother, it works for us. You know, this team, as much as it appears to be all access and the public gets to see what we do on a daily basis, it really is a tight-knit, closed group. The outside noise doesn't get in. You know, we broadcast things and show you stuff, but what you're saying out there doesn't impact our locker room. These guys couldn't be closer. The chemistry couldn't be higher. They couldn't be more ready to get this season going. And if anything, when you see them ranked, 11th in the conference or predicted to not win but 3 games, it's just adding fuel to a fire that was already raging to play anyway. I don't know how much fired up Khalil Benson can be. He's already pissed off. All you're doing is pissing him off more.
I love it, man. So yeah, we see what's going on. It's very obvious. It's right in front of our eyes. Stuff on Juju, though, just a little bit further. I don't know when a decision's coming. We've got Quinnell X. Farrakhan committing on Saturday, I believe, the 13th. He was on that visit with Juju, the wide receiver. So I think that we got to get through that one, and then I think we might end up seeing some more momentum for Juju. Let's go to Coach Prime's press conference at the Big 12 Media Day, though. We didn't get to speak about this yesterday. But he spoke in front of everyone at Allegiant. He opened up, as you said, as we kind of opened the show, nothing but praise for Brett Yormark. He said, this is unbelievable. Brett did the doggone thing. I think we have the best commissioner in football. He is a baller. And you could see that confidence from the commissioner's press conference too. But, if Coach Prime's on the guy's side, this conference is just getting started in terms of the momentum it's going to pick up and how much better it's going to get in the near future.
Yeah, I've been sidebarred a couple of conversations that Coach and the commissioner have had, and I don't know if the stars could be more aligned for success to have the commissioner that the Big 12 has, to have a coach like Coach Prime, or even a Gundy at Oklahoma State. You got these personalities, and the commissioner understands personalities. He understands messaging and branding and communication. Like, he gets it. You go to other conferences and you don't even know who the hell the commissioner are. You probably can't name half the coaches in the conference because everything is so hush-hush. Well, these guys understand that the world wants access. People want to see how the sausage is made to some degree, and they are on board in showing that. So, I don't know, man, 20 years ago if this would have worked, but right now, 2024, to have this commissioner and this coach on the same page and what they can do as far as promoting this conference and the competition within and how to harness that in media, it's a perfect setup for success.
Kind of what you said about Coach Gundy there. Coach also called out a few other coaches in his introductory statement. Called out's not the right word. Basically heaped praise on them and showed his admiration for UCF head coach Gus Malzahn, Oklahoma State head coach Mike Gundy, and Texas Tech head coach Joey McGuire. Joey McGuire also kind of reciprocated that. I think he was earlier on the first day of Media Day. But that's Bucky's high school coach. So that relationship goes way, way back.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. The degrees of separation, Kevin Bacon may be 6, but Coach Prime is like 1. Like, you can't name a person in football that he can't get on the phone or just one person away from them at any level of the game. And if he doesn't know them directly, they damn sure know him and are going to take his call. And so these relationships, they go back. They're historic. When he was in the NFL Network and covering drafts and pro days and that kind of thing, these coaches were coaching then, so they know him from the media point. Clearly, they know him from being a Hall of Famer and have built, again, those personal bonds with him. I just think on the outside, people are looking for like confusion and animosity and attacks. The thing that like happened with Colorado State last year. But the coaches in the Big 12, man, that's just not the kind of game that's played. There is a mutual respect. There's an admiration. There's an understanding that a rising tide lifts all boats. As Colorado becomes the tip of the spear of this conference, particularly through not just winning football games, but through this media aspect, people are going to want to go to the other schools in the conference as well. This helps everybody recruit. A Juju coming to the Big 12 to Colorado only helps everybody else in the Big 12, because it shows you're in a conference that the best of the best want to go to. And I think you have a cadre of coaches, in particular commissioner, who understand that.
Coach Prime, still in his opening statement, he kind of addressed high school recruiting and had a message for them, basically, for high school recruits. He said, when we sign you, we want you to play. And he brought up, I don't have the exact stats. The full press conference is on our YouTube channel, though, if you want to check it out. But he was talking about last year's class when they only brought in, what was it, like 13 guys or whatever it is. And he said, we played like 10 out of the 13. Like, you come to Colorado and you're a freshman, incoming high school recruit. We want you. We want you to play. And the way that they built this roster, and they've said it so many times, when we've said it so many times, the transfer portal was being used to help get this roster up to a baseline that was competitive, because it wasn't competitive in 2022, obviously. They weren't going to win with those guys. They had to bring in news guys. But when you bring in these high school recruits, the Omari and Millers of the world and such like that, these kids are going to play because this recruiting staff still has relationships that go way back. And, we kind of still need talent, especially last year. Mr. Hillman says it was 17 signed, 13 played. And, again, small class coming in this year, but you hear about guys like Micah Welsh. You hear about Jordan Seaton. These guys are going to play, man.
Not just play, they're gonna damn start. I almost dropped the F-bomb. They're not just getting that participation trophy. Like, they're going to be impact players. They're getting a lot of reps. And same thing with last year. You mentioned Omari Miller, receiver. Look at Carter Stoudemire, and before his injury,
Yes.
the impact he was making. You look at Dylan, who transferred, the impact he was making as a freshman. This new group right here, Jordan Seaton, is going to be a starter as a freshman. One thing that Coach Prime does, man, we've said this time and time again on the DNVR pregame show. This place is run like a NFL roster. Scholarships are like salary caps. We are not drafting somebody, quote unquote, signing somebody to a scholarship and hoping they play in 2 or 3 years. No, you're coming here to have an impact right now. We see something in you that can help us right now. No one's out there drafting the future, 4 or 5 years from now. No college coaches out here, signing scholarships, portal or out of high school for the future. I believe you have something to better this team right now. You're going to have to compete and earn it, but I see it in you. And so I'm selecting you and offering you a scholarship so you can damn play right now. What that does is not only instantly make the team better, it also puts the message out there in the recruitment circle. Hey, man, when you go to Colorado, they're not going to have you sitting around 12, 18 months. You're going to get on the field that first year.
Perfectly said. We got more to get to from Coach Prime's press conference, but we're going to take another quick break here. And shout out our friends over at Vestibule. As fans of athletes and of sports, we like to invest in some of our favorite players, whether it's trading cards, jerseys. We just like to support our favorite players, and Vestibule is a cool new app where you can do that and much more. You can actually invest in Baron Browning right now. He's their first athlete that they've signed with, the Denver Broncos outside linebacker. An interesting career. He's battled injuries. He's battled position changes, coaching changes, scheme changes, all kinds of stuff. But he was a 5-star coming out of Ohio State, and that talent has flashed at times with the Broncos. He's in a contract year. If you want to earn alongside Baron, download the Vestibule app. His IPO is live right now. Shares are available for purchase, but they are limited. So go download the app and invest. And then shout out to Bet365, the homies. There's lots of opportunities to make money on the Buffs this year. They've been disrespected. Last I saw, they are still dogs in some notable games in Big 12 competition against Nebraska. So get on it now. The line's actually moving for the NDSU game. It was at 7. I think it's gone up to 8.5 now. So you got to get on that one as soon as you can, because by game time, I think we could easily get into double digits, maybe even approach 2 touchdowns. So use the code DNVR365 when you sign up at Bet365. All you need to do is deposit $10 for the bet and get offer, then place a $5 bet on anything, literally anything, whether it wins or misses. You'll get $150 in your bonus bets in your account as soon as that bet clears. You must be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, Unc. Coach was asked about the hiring of Robert Livingston, and I think it's the most glowing comments Coach has made about Robert Livingston so far. He said on the hiring, "Oh my God, just the opportunity to get him. We needed a DC, and I'm a pro, so I like the relationships and the thought process of a pro. Coach Livingston was recommended to me by many, Mike Zimmer being one of them, though, and we all know how deep that relationship goes. I'm happy I made that decision. First of all, I pray to God we can keep him because we're going to win. He is awesome, totally awesome." He also mentioned he sees Coach Livingston as a future head coach.
Amen. The doors of the church are open. This staff is full of former head coaches and future head coaches, and not just at the collegiate level, but also the NFL level. You see it up and down the hallways. One of the things I loved about Coach Livingston when he was brought on is, Coach Prime gave him an assignment, some game film, a couple of our games from the previous season that defensively coulda, shoulda, woulda, and asked him what would he do, and he broke the film down, analyzed it, and gave it back like he was the man for the job. And more than what Coach Prime says about Coach Livingston, more than even what players say about Coach Livingston, people should also go give a listen to what Shedeur Sanders said about himself. Neely, what kind of damn sense does that make? Shiloh's talking about himself. No, listen closely. He's talking about how much better he's going to be this year, the things he's going to be able to do on defense. And the reason he can articulate those things is he's now part of a system with a DC that allows people to do their strengths, not just have to follow the scheme. Coach Livingston has a system where the best 11 are going to be on the field, that best 11 play and communicate together. And what you do well from an athletic and mental standpoint is accentuated versus trying to force you into a scheme and only do that job. So Shiloh knows, hey, watch me this year. Watch the things I'm going to be able to do because he's been through the installs. He's been through the player-led practices. He knows what that safety role is going to be like on defense. And I think that's all a credit to the system that Coach Rob Livingston is implementing in Colorado.
I love it, man. We went through the whole DC search. It took a while. There were a lot of names being floated out, a lot of questions. And then, the hiring comes through. And I think there was some sort of a sense of disappointment almost because it wasn't a flashy name. No one really knew much about him. But as we dug more into him, as we learned more about Coach Livingston, and as we heard the players and Coach Prime continue to talk about him, it just sounds like this guy is or a possible head coach for sure, but a coach that is going to make some waves in this industry in the very near future. He's done his due diligence, man, working his way up from a scout. And when we talked to Shiloh yesterday, he talked about what you were just saying, how exactly he's going to make his game better, trying to, show off his range a bit more, a bit more single high stuff. So his defense is aggressive, man, and I think that's exactly what we need to complement this offense, because it's an aggressive offense too. And I think once you're fully well-rounded and trying to be aggressive as a football team, that's when you can begin to really dominate like Coach wants to.
And it's truly a chess match as well. You're not going to have a defense schematic-wise, you're not going to have a defense personnel-wise that people can get ready for week to week because it's going to change based on what our opponents do well on offense. And so you may see more of Cameron, Silver, and Craig one week, and then the next week is more of Shiloh. The week after that, you may see an extra DB in the game and a safety out because it's all going to be predicated on who we're going against and what they do well versus, no, this is my scheme, this is what we do, and we might adjust after halftime or not. We're just going to, do the best we can with what we got. Coach Livingston has a living, breathing defense. It's organic. It knows how to adjust. It knows how to survive. Most importantly, it's all centered on stopping the run, not giving up those big plays, and getting pressure and getting to the quarterback. So I love what we're going to do on defense. We probably had 5 games last year that were one-score games, that could have gone either way or the other. and we gave up a big player, couldn't manage the clock well because of defense was too porous. That totally changes this year. So with that revamped defense, with that revamped offensive line and D line, you talked about our brothers over there that we could do a little betting with if that's your thing. Man, when you start seeing those people saying we ain't winning but 3, 4, or 5 games, hop on that because damn sure we get more than that.
No doubt, brother. Coach Prime was asked about North Dakota State. He said they're good. They're really darn good. I'm mad at Rick right now for putting them on the schedule. Obviously, he was kind of joking about that. He said those kids play their butts off. They don't make many mistakes. They're accustomed to winning. We can't wait to see them. Phenomenal matchup. That program is second to none. Coach Prime, every time, talks about an opponent, just gasses them up, says all the good things that you could say about them, puts the ball in their court, I guess, basically. So NDSU, the ball's in your court.
Here's what I don't understand about sports. I know in boxing you got to do a little bravado thing. I get that, but overall in sports, man, when you're pissing on your opponent and you beat them, well, what did you actually accomplish? Versus beating somebody that you have respect for and acknowledge what they bring to the table. And I know Coach Prime was a little tongue in cheek when he talked about scheduling that game, but there was also some sincerity to it. This is one of those games that you just really try to avoid as a head coach. So it's one of those ones you're quote unquote supposed to win. And then if you don't win big, it's like you really lost because they may be a division below us, but they're at the top of that division. This is a national championship team on multiple occasions. And when they didn't win it, they're always in it. This ain't an opponent that you just look past. This is a very good measuring stick for week one. And it's not somebody you can take lightly. So America out there just looking like, oh, it's North Dakota State. That doesn't count. That's not the way it works. Back here in Mississippi at Jackson State, we got an in-state team that's down below, but they are, national champs as well in Delta State. And we used to play them a lot. And man, you're talking about the damn game is like 9-6, because it's again their Super Bowl, to beat us. And then there are guys from Ole Miss and Auburn and Memphis who had an issue at school and needed a home to go to, so they went to Delta State. So the talent there is on par or greater than yours, but you're looking at them through a different lens because they're down a conference or division. Don't sleep on North Dakota State and what they're able to accomplish, man. Week one is a real opponent, and we have to get ready for that game.
Absolutely. And I think I don't know if it's an advantage, but the fact that this game is week one and not week 3, not the end of your non-conference schedule, it of course forces you to focus on them. But I think if you're going to schedule a team like this, that's the time to do it. You don't want to have them hidden, after, you go through these rivalry games, Nebraska, CSU, and then you have the potential trap game against North Dakota State.
Yeah. Of course, we know and believe who's going to win that game. Like we are the fans of who we are the fans of. So we're talking football from a general standpoint and specifically talking about the respect for North Dakota State. Having said that, we also got to remember we're going into a new era of college football with the 12 playoff system, with the folks who from the Big Four, from the Power Four, who win their conference championship game, go automatically in. Now, back in the day, which was just last year and beyond, you could still have a one-loss team, in the playoffs. You can certainly have one-loss teams in the group of 12 for the playoffs now. So even when you drop a non-conference game or drop a conference game along the way, it's not the death knell for the playoffs that it was 1 and 2 and 5 years ago, because now the focus is, hey man, get to that conference championship, win that game, and you're in regardless. And then the rest is filled out by the remaining top 8 in the nation. So these games matter, Jake, but they don't have like that, oh my God, we can't recover from this that they had a year ago. But you don't want to start off 0-1 when you can start off 1-0 when you're the Coach Prime program.
With that too, I mean, it's college football. Strength of schedule matters. As much as people try to say it doesn't matter, and whatever FCS team, blah blah blah, not the same. We could say all those things, but you win this game. I don't know how you don't look at it and say, this is kind of a great first win of the season. Other teams are playing School the Deaf and the Blind in the FCS and stuff. Colorado's going out there to play North Dakota State. You win that game. I mean, I don't know how you don't take them more seriously from that point on, but also when we get into the conversations later in the year about strength of schedule and you start comparing resumes to one team and another.
Jake, but we already know what's going to happen. Like here's what's going to happen.
Of course.
We beat them by 30. We were supposed to, but look how sloppy you looked on special teams. They're going to find something. If we beat them by 3, oh, you can only beat them by 3. Look at you, you suck. If they beat us by 3, oh, we told you that damn suck. You're like, we can't win in the eyes of the haters. We just got to
Mhm.
win on the scoreboard. We got to go out there, be prepared, and be dominant, and that's what we got to do every week of the year anyway. But anybody who thinks that this week 1 is a cupcake cakewalk, they just don't know football and they don't know the history of North Dakota State. That ain't a slouch program. That's not somebody you volunteer and jump up and say, hey, I want to play you. Shout out to Rick. Big balls on Rick, because this ain't something other ADs do.
Absolutely. Last one we'll touch on here. Coach Prime was asked about BJ Green and what he's seen from him, and Coach Prime gave a great response. He said, BJ Green is already a leader. He played for me from 5 to 7 years old. He's been a part of my life a long time. They raised him right at ASU. His work ethic, the way he approaches the game. We want 4 guys to go in the first round, and I think Green can be one of those guys. He also, on the general defensive line said we have some guys inside that can flat out do it. Outside, we have guys that can go get the quarterback. He named like every player on the roster. He threw out TC, Shedeur, name after name after name yesterday, literally trying to put it out there like, these are the guys. Pay attention, like we told you.
Yeah, he's got nothing to hide. And the biggest takeaway that the haters out there need to appreciate is I thought y'all said that Coach Prime doesn't know his players. I thought y'all said that he's not involved in the roster. And here he is naming not only, the one nose tackle, but he knows the guy that's going in behind him. And so I think that this year, Jake, the depth that we have at O-line, particularly the talent of Group 1, the depth that we have at D-line, particularly the talent of Group 1, we're going to be able to make some differences in some games versus just trying to hold our own and survive. Like we're gonna play ball on the other side of the line of scrimmage on defense, and we're going to keep Shedeur upright on offense. So if you just change those dynamics last year, what do we win? 9 games?
I mean, you go into the 1-possession games, the 10-point games, whatever it is, the games where Shedeur was hurt, like. And, this is what we do as fans, too. Everyone always goes, what if, and look at the most optimistic other side of the coin, right? But these are things that were addressed, that were not only addressed, but addressed with, 10 players. They brought in whole new 2 deep at the offensive and defensive line. So it's not just they brought in, Jordan Seaton and slapped a Band-Aid on the offensive line and said we're going to be better. No, it's completely redone.
We got a 2-part interview with Corey Phillips. Part 1 is dropping tomorrow on the pregame show YouTube, and we talk about that at length, like the process of how we identify what we need and how we go out and find it. And I think the fan base out there is going to just see how much it mirrors what the NFL does. That this is a real deal thought process. It's not just taking the best of the best that ring your doorbell. It's going out there and finding guys that not only have the capability of doing what you need done, but just as important, not more important, they can mesh in the locker room that we currently have. You can be the most outstanding offensive lineman in the world, but if you have a personality or work ethic that's counter to number 2 Shedeur Sanders, we ain't got room for you on this team. And
Yep.
so they're more than just going out and signing the best player from a physical standpoint. They're signing the best player for what already exists in the locker room that can coexist. So y'all check that out, man, because it's a really good deep dive on Corey Phillips and his staff and Coach Prime and how they put thought into who they offer these scholarships to.
I can't wait, man. I love Corey. So I will definitely be tuning in to put a bow on some of this Media Day stuff for Big 12 Media Day 2024. Do you guys have the Dylan Edwards clip ready to go? Lissa?
What?
Do you have the Dylan Edwards clip ready or no?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
So Shedeur was asked, unfortunately, we didn't really get to talk to K-State. Just the format of the, the Media Day stuff. Would have loved to, ask Avery Johnson, who's really good friends with Dylan about this. But someone from a Wichita radio station was able to talk to Shedeur and asked him about, Dylan Edwards transferring, because we know this is going to be a storyline we're going to come back to. So whenever you guys are ready, if you want to put up that video.
One of your guys last year on the team, Dylan Edwards, is now in the league you're in now at
Yeah.
K-State. Any
Yeah.
hard feelings with him transferring? Do you understand his situation?
Nah, I never would knock a player for transferring if he feels like that's best for him. That's my guy at the end of the day, regardless of anything. So, if that was the best decision for him, that's great for him.
Were you a little surprised though?
No, I wasn't surprised. I talked to him, just in general, but I kind of understood where his mind was at, and I understand. Like, the thing with me, I'm never a biased guy. If you feel like something's better for you, then I would want you to. I'm a friend. Like, at the end of the day, like, I won't lie to you. I won't do anything that use you for my own selfish reasons. At the end of the day, if that's best for you, you gotta live your life for the next however many years you live. I'm not living nobody else's life, so. If that's for them, that's on them. I'm not really too trying to control nobody else's life.
Thank you.
What you were saying?
No, I was just going to ask you.
A lot of people say a lot of things about Shedeur, but he has always come across just so mature. And I think he's handled a lot of these situations really well when it comes to players leaving and guys he was close to, like Dylan Edwards. So saying, this is not the stuff that's going to blow up about Shedeur. It's always the other stuff, the one sentence they pick out of a quote. But that's who he is.
It is absolutely who he is. And I tell you who is picking up on it. General managers, presidents of player personnel around the league. Everybody in the league is salivating at this guy and the opportunity to be able to trade up or get him early in the first round, however those tea leaves fall out, because he is mature and he is ready. One thing about Shedeur Sanders, man, and you would love to be able to say this about everybody, but the truth is everybody don't roll like this. Shedeur Sanders is one of those genuine guys who truly gives what he wants to receive. And so because he wants to be able to live his life the way he does, because he wants to be able to make decisions the way he makes them, he understands giving that to somebody. So you can't be selfish in your approach. I can't want people to have hands off me and let me decide my fate, but then I want to control somebody else's destiny. And so it's almost like what I was saying early in the broadcast. People who haven't been in locker rooms don't understand locker room dynamic. These guys are not enemies. It's like when someone demands a trade in the NFL. You got a salary cap in the NFL. And if I stay here, I'm shorting my family money. I got to go get it. I got to go get opportunity. And so there's no hard feelings in that locker room when somebody leaves, even to the guys who shoot shots back. It's still like, hey, well, that's just them talking. I'm not even going to deal with that. We're happy with where we are and what we're doing, and we wish them the best. And so there's no animosity from this team, this coaching staff, toward a Dylan Edwards or anybody else that wanted to transfer, because if they felt they were transferring for a better opportunity to them, Coach Prime will tell this team and has told this team, come talk to me and I will help you get where you think you need to be. I don't want you here and you're here uncomfortable, happy, or don't think we could provide for you. I want you to go where you want to go. And that's one of the things I love about the transfer portal, Jay, is I think young people, old people, anybody has the right to make a decision, even if the decision turns out to be a bad one. You got to let people live their life and chase their dreams and not try to control them. And Shedeur Sanders as a quarterback is the epitome of that. Like, there's never animosity when someone leaves.
Absolutely. Moni had a great comment. Scroll back up to that one comment. That is exactly how Coach Primer responded during his recruitment. And you look at what Julian Lewis said. That I think it was the first or the second visit earlier in the spring. He put out the tweet. Thanks for always caring about what's best for me, at Deion Sanders, at TC Lewis, whatever it was. And I think that's just the general vibe I get from Coach Prime and the staff when it comes to this whole process of the transfer portal, building this roster, where they're going to tell you about all the opportunities you could have at Colorado. And if you're already on the team and you see that stuff and you don't feel like it's a fit for you and you want to go somewhere else, whether it's closer to home or whatever opportunity, they're going to have your back, man. So it's something that this was a weird time of the offseason, probably the most tumultuous time of the offseason when Dylan entered the portal. But a lot of things were said about Dylan, from the fan base and stuff. But I think as things have calmed down, we've all kind of come to this realization that, we still like Dylan, we still love Dylan, but it's business when it's on the football field. But, go do what's best for you.
I think people totally get it wrong and are offended by the statement "next man up," and that's why football operates like that. a lot of people attribute that to injury, but you never know what's going to happen. But you do know this: you got to play the damn game on the date and time it's scheduled, and you got to be ready to go, and you got to go with what you got. And so you wish people the best that transition out, whether that's a family emergency back home or a slippage of grades. Anything can happen in college football or football in general. But there again, there's no animosity because you're still focused on the task at hand. You look at during a game when a guy has to run off to the locker room or to the training tent or anything happens. The play clock is still running. Like you got to
Right.
go out there and do what you got to
Right.
do. We'll text each other and check on each other after that. So there's no time for like, oh, kumbaya, let me go see what's wrong. We got to go to the next play. And so next man up kind of offends people, but people who've been playing football and had the maturity of Shedeur Sanders, who has earned the nickname grown from at an early
Yes.
age, he gets it, man. He ain't mad at Dylan Edwards. He would probably wish Dylan Edwards nothing but the best, except for the day that they play Colorado.
Exactly. I said we get to the ESPN Top 100 players. We'll just do that tomorrow. Let's get to questions. I know we got some stuff for Neely here, and then we can get out. We got about 7 minutes. Marlene asks, has a time been determined for the UCF game? Got our plane/hotel reservations. No time for the UCF game yet. We will let you know as soon as we know, though. Eric asks, wasn't Travis Hunter advertised for media days? Why wasn't he there? He just didn't make it. I don't really know what happened, but he didn't make it. You know?
Yeah, and that happens all the time. That is the slated list of student athletes to attend, and when things come up in their lives over school, it's always interchangeable. So I wasn't really focused on Travis not being there. I was glad to see the two brothers in Facette there. The third brother, Mate, was in the house. So but again, if you look at the other schools and other conferences around the nation, the list is never actual. Like someone always gets swapped out.
Right. Man, we spoke to Mate yesterday. That guy is awesome, bro. He's a leader and a dog. He's funny. He's obviously an older player, but he gets it, man. I love talking to that guy.
This is not a I told you so moment because I know you guys believe me. Y'all always call me the champion of special teams.
Yep.
They don't get enough praise, man, particularly with him at leadership. And I think the three guys that you saw there, and including the four that was scheduled to be there, and many others from this team are not just going to go to the NFL. They're going to be drafted. When you
Yes.
see this season, the amount of spin and control and placement that Mate can put on that ball, no one's going to wait around to get him as an undrafted free agent. Someone's going to pick up the phone and draft him.
Can't wait, man. He will get drafted, by the way. I'll put my stamp on that. Mark Facette will be a draft pick this year.
I believe it.
5280 Ivan asks, Unc, what are you looking forward to the most this upcoming season? Kind of a broad question, but how would you answer that?
Getting started. And I think for me is not only getting through fall camp, quote unquote, injury free. I think that it's important for this team to early on get that fourth victory. Last year we kind of ran out the gate with those wins and everything was riding high. Well, here's what's going to happen this year, Jake. Week 1, week 2, and week 3, when we're 3-0, everybody's going to say, yeah, but last year. Until we get over that hump and get that win 4 and 5, particularly if they're consecutive, that's when the narrative is going to be forced to change. So that's what I'm most looking forward to. Is I'm not looking past any opponent. It's 1 week at a time. But we've been 1-0, we've been 2-0, we've been 3-0. It's like we got to get over that hump from last year and show people this team is for real and show them early.
I love that, man, and I agree. I completely agree. I don't think this team is going to see very much respect this season in general, but especially as you mentioned, if they start off 3-0, 4-0 again, we're going to hear the same shit, 4-8, all that stuff. So I can't wait. I agree.
I do want to point out that whereas I've only dropped 1 hot Tua, you have dropped 4 shits today.
Well, you just dropped the second one, so.
All right. Yeah. So there's 2 hot Tuas, now 3 and 5 shits.
Tavon asks, what happened to Wednesdays with Warren yesterday, Unc? You got that
Hey,
coming?
man, I appreciate you asking, Tavon. Me and Staff were talking, and we said, hell, even the Cosby Show, The Wire, everybody had to take a season break, So Wednesdays with Warren, We did our 4th of July show. We're taking the next 2 weeks off. Well, one of those weeks is already done. Next week is an off week for the show, but that 31st of July we are back, and then we're every Wednesday through the entire season, and that will be the start and end of season 2. So season 1, Wednesday was Warren, has ended, and we start up in 2 weeks. So appreciate you asking that, man. We'll be back.
Love it, man. Dave asks, Unc, what can you tell us about Dallin Hayden? He's really quiet. Is that just his personality? Any reports on how he's adjusting and fitting in workouts?
Man, I love the guys that are just quiet. Green is one of those guys. Coach Prime was praising him,
Yep.
Early in your comment, but you're not going to get much out of them. Like they'll chit chat with you, and they may wink at the camera, but when they're in there working and blending in and becoming teammates, they have all that stuff just totally blocked out. And I just smile when I see it, because much like Shedeur said about, say, a Dylan Edwards leaving, it is the same thing within the locker room. You don't have to be like somebody else. Shedeur wears a gold chain. You don't have to wear one to be cool. Be yourself to be cool. Coach Prime tucks his pants legs into his socks. You don't have to dress like him to be on the team. You get to be yourself. And you have guys on this team, they're just quiet. Now they make noise on the field. They make noise in the weight room, but they're just quiet people in general. And I think sometimes the camera shows so much personality that from other people, that when you see a quiet guy, you think something's wrong. And
Right.
It's just quite the opposite. There's nothing wrong, man, just being himself.
Well said. Last one from Heaven's Demon. Hey, Unc, how is Quincy Wiggins performing? In your opinion, is he a starter, or can he be by the end of the season?
I think absolutely can be, but I'm going to reserve, starter identifications. I know Coach Prime threw some out at media day with the O-line, but you know how I am, Jake. We went through this last year. I'm a second week of August kind of guy. When we get on the pads and people really start competing out there and see where we are before I start, knighting guys, as that starting position. So because one thing these position coaches demand and the head coach demands is competition. And I don't know how much competition we can really see when we're just doing cardio competition. I think when you get the pads on and we're thumping out there, I think that's when true football competition emerges, and you're going to see who's starting and who's going to go second and third team.
I cannot wait, man. When we get to Monday, we're 2 weeks away. And we're finally back rolling. I can't wait till you're back too, man. I miss you.
I got to say this, man. There's a comment there by R.J. Baldwin that says, BJ Green is a killer. He's too quiet, with a LOL. Jake, I told you guys all last year, I wanted to get people on this D-line that I was damn afraid of. And me and Green, we tease each other, but hey, man, like, you can't play with him too much. Like, you got to stop at some point. Because I don't know where the off switch is on him. So,
Yeah.
So RJ, you're exactly right, man. Keep an eye on BJ Green this year. That dude, he's gonna bring some noise in this conference and beyond.
I agree, man. He's going to be one of the biggest difference makers on this team. You're still about 2 weeks away from coming back too, right?
Yeah, we got a team meeting on that Sunday, the 28th, and first practice, not looking at the calendar, is Monday, July 29th. So I'm back well before then. And then, you and I, we do our post-practice stuff, what we saw that day. We do the live shows on Friday. So, hey, it's football time again, Jake. We're here. We made it. We survived the offseason.
It's time. We got through media day too. That's one of the last steps. So we are really almost there. Can't wait to see you. We'll do this again soon, brother. I don't know if RK is back again tomorrow or not. We'll let you know. But we'll see you guys then. Take care, Unc. Let's go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.